Welcome back to the weekly edit, everybody. How are you doing? I am good. All right, my name is Antoinette, and before we carry on, I just wanted to let you know that the Facebook page and the group is up and running. We managed to get it sorted out, so maybe you already know that. If not, you're welcome to go to the private group and say hi or write down something, anything you want to discuss. All right, so today we are going to be talking about money because I think a lot of families are actually struggling with it right now. And the effects of money are not having enough. Everything seems to be a lot more expensive. Groceries cost more, insurance costs more, services cost more. And when you're raising an autistic child, there is a whole nother layer of expenses on top of your normal, ordinary family life. And apart from the usual, we also have to worry about childcare, especially childcare that actually understands our child, and activities that we have to pay for that accommodate our kids. And maybe one parent works more than the other or less than the other one because someone needs to be more available. And sometimes we pay for things that other families don't even think about. So I'm not here to sit and tell you that money is just a thought. Money, of course, is a circumstance, is a fact, but your thoughts about it are thoughts. The bills are real, but I want to challenge what you have decided those bills mean. Because there's a very important distinction between our family has additional expenses, and because our family have additional expenses, we're always going to struggle financially. Those aren't the same thing. The first one is a circumstance, is a fact. The second one is a conclusion, and conclusions matter. So I want to give you some coaching of an idea that I think is incredibly powerful for us right now. Your greatest financial asset is not the money that you currently have. Think about that. It is actually your brain, your ability to think, your ability to solve problems, your ability to learn, to create value, to make decisions, your willingness to try something different, discover that it doesn't work and just adjust and try again, your capacity to see opportunities that maybe you couldn't see before. That is the asset, and applying that to us as parents of autism, because I think sometimes we become so focused on protecting the resources that we already have, and we forget about our capacity to create more resources. And of course, understandably so. When you've experienced financial pressure, your brain becomes very interested in protecting you from not experiencing that again. Don't spend that. We can't afford this. What if that's going to happen? What if our child needs more things? What if we lose income? What if the money runs out? Your brain thinks worrying about money is keeping you safe, but worry and financial capability are not the same thing. In fact, sometimes constantly thinking from a space of scarcity prevents you from seeing the very possibilities that could change your financial situation. And here is where I want to challenge you. What if your job isn't simply to hold onto the money that you already have? What if your job is to become someone who trusts yourself to create more? That is a very different way of living. How can I create more money? What opportunities am I not seeing right now? Yes, we have additional expenses. Now, what do I want to do about that? Notice I'm not pretending that the bills and the expenses don't exist. I'm just refusing to make the expense the end of the conversation. And that is where your personal power lies. Now, there's another idea that I just love. If you have created money once, you have evidence that you can create money again. Just think about that. The security doesn't come from the number that's lying in your bank account. Some security can come from knowing I know how to figure this out. That is a completely different type of wealth because money can disappear, circumstances can change, jobs can change, markets can change, your child's needs can change. But the ability you have developed to think, to learn, to adapt, and create goes with you wherever you go. And as autism parents, we already have a huge amount of evidence that we can figure things out. Think about what you have learned simply because your child needed you to learn it. You have researched things nobody has ever freaking heard about. You've sat in meetings where you have learned terminology and acronyms that blows your mind. You have been through school systems and medical insurance systems and the medical systems itself, doctors and therapists, and things that you never even knew you would need. You have learned how your child communicates. You've adjusted your plans. You've made impossible looking situations work. You have become resourceful because you've had to. So, why do we suddenly decide that that resourcefulness doesn't apply to money? Maybe the question isn't, do I currently have enough? Maybe the more powerful question is, who do I need to become to create what my family needs? And I want you to notice what happens in your body when I say that. Because your brain is immediately going to offer you, I don't have time. I can't start a business. I don't know how to. I'm too overwhelmed. My child needs too much. I can't take the risk. Other people can do that. I can't. And I want to say, that's good. It's good to know because now we know where the work is. Because sometimes the biggest limitation isn't the bank balance, it's the collection of beliefs surrounding the bank balance. Now, here's another uncomfortable one. When we see somebody else doing well financially, what do we make that mean? Does it make us curious? Or do we immediately explain why it is easier for them? They had more connections. They had money, family money, money to start with. Their children don't have as many needs as ours do. They have more time. They got lucky. They're probably doing something I wouldn't be willing to do. When we make other people's success wrong or unethical, lucky or unattainable, we can accidentally make financial success unavailable to ourselves as well. Because why would your brain help you to create something you have taught it to resent? That doesn't mean everyone who makes money has done it brilliantly or ethically. Of course not. I mean, we get those people. It just means you get to decide what you want wealth to mean. Maybe wealth means choices. Maybe it means better support for your child. Maybe it means helping to pay for help. Maybe it means taking your family on holiday or helping one parent work less than the other. Maybe it means helping another family who could do with some help. Maybe it's investing. Maybe it's giving generously. Maybe it means building something that changes your family's future. Money is a tool. And I think that matters because Sometimes we start believing that if we could just get to that certain number in our bank account, then we'd feel safe. But there is no bank balance that can permanently protect you from feeling that fear. So if you don't work on that fear, you're just going to simply take that fear with you to your next income level. We all know when we started working, maybe you had a salary that wasn't very big. It was a starter salary. And maybe 10 or 20 years later, you earn 10 times, 20 times, 30 times as much. But you still have the same thoughts about money. Maybe you thought back then that you had a little money. And now maybe you have triple X your money or whatever it is, and you still think you have little. So, yes, I want you to build savings and be intentional and plan for your child's future and make wise financial decisions, but also invest in the asset that creates all of it. And that is you, your thinking, your education, your skills, your confidence, your creativity, your ability to communicate, your willingness to make offers if you've got a business, your willingness to ask for more, ask for a raise, your ability to solve valuable problems, your willingness to hear no if you're in sales, willingness to try again, and perhaps more importantly, your belief that your circumstances do not get the final vote on what is possible for your life. Because autism can absolutely affect your finances, but it doesn't have to rule your whole financial world. There are two very different things. What if you became exceptionally good at creating what you need? And what do you know about yourself that tells you that you could rebuild or that you could build more? And instead of looking at your bank balance as your complete financial security, start looking at the person who created that bank account. Because that person is the real asset. All right, my friends, that is what I have for you. But before I let you go, I have some very exciting news. I am going to be hosting a brand new masterclass, and it's called From Chaos to Choice, where I'm going to teach you how to stop living in reaction mode to create more grounded days. Now, the masterclass is going to be on September the 14th. It's going to be at 1 p.m. EST. And the link should be down below here. So please sign up now, because if you don't, you are going to forget. And other things are going to take your mind off it. So sign up right now. All right, my friends, I will see you next week. Bye now.